Hello, my name's Duncan and welcome to Back Away from the Donkey, and this is my introduction to science fiction, and this is a selection of books. The proviso is the books that I read before at the age of 18 and ones that I've come back to, and they are ones that sort of encased my love for science fiction. So today I'm going to go on to Harry Harrison, and this is the first Harry Harrison one I've talked about. I could have gone the stainless steel rat route, but I thought I'd go for one of his more serious ones. Which is Make Room, Make Room, which you may know as it was filmed as Soylent Green, but under no other things, Soylent Green is a very different beast compared to Make Room, Make Room. The ending's totally different, and so it's very different. So I just put that proviso up. If you've not read Make Room, Make Room, you've missed really quite a classic dystopian novel. It was one of the first books really to talk about overpopulation as an issue. It actually predated some sort of non-fiction people speculating that, and as much as a lot of what was predicted never came to pass in different ways, it's still relevant in certain things for the use of resources and the use of environmental resources. Harrison did a few stories on it. He did a Criminal Act, which was published in 1966 as well, which is a short story, which is one I'm going to do a video on soon, because I'm comparing it to another one. As well, but he also did a shortened version of part of this novel in The Best of Harry Harrison, which was called Roommates. But this is the main novel, The Make Room, Make Room. It's not a huge novel, it's about 150, 160 pages, but it should be on your reading for classic science fiction. My personal history of the book, this was not the first Harrison I read. I probably read Stainless Steel Rat first, books like Star Smashers, The Galaxy Rangers, some of his more comedic stuff, but I went down a rabbit hole of his short stories. I love the To the Stars trilogy, which I may talk about on a later date, but Make Room, Make Room is one of his most well loved one. I think sometimes as an author he's not given credit enough for his serious work. It's set in the far future of 1999. I love it when they say it like that, and it's 6 months before the millennium, and as somebody who remembers the millennium, it's quite interesting. Yeah, so 6 months up to the millennium, and it's when the world is overpopulated. The population of the world is 25 billion, which I actually think isn't far off what it is now, but the population of New York is 25 million, and it's the background of this is the overuse of the resources. But what the main plot line of this is basically a detective story. The narrative of the book does move from person to person, but the main focus of the story is Andy Roosh, who's a detective, and he shares half a room with Sol, a retired engineer, whom he lives with, and they share all their resources together. And Andy ends up investigating the murder of a retired racketeer, and gets involved in this, and that's what the 6 months up to the millennium, that's what the story focuses around. As I said earlier, the ideas of overpopulation haven't really come to fruition as he predicted and other people predicted, but Harry Harrison always stated that he never believed that science fiction predicted the future, more it talked about subjects. What makes this book so great, in my opinion, is the dystopian nature of the book, before dystopian became a very trendy term, and it's the breaking down of society, and with the brutal government with no accountability to anybody. All this stuff in the background with a really interesting detective story which is placed over the top. I said, if you've seen this film Soylent Green, it's a totally different beast to the book. The book is far more measured in its content, and it lays out the story in a much more subtle way. I think that's the best way to describe it. But you can't go out nowadays without going through the bookshelves and finding a dystopian novel. But this, in some ways, the dystopian is relevant today as it was then. If you ignore the fact that the obviously overpopulation hasn't arrived as it has, we've still got the overuse of resources and accountability of governments, and all that is very relevant for today. So as a book which has got some relevancy today, it is well worth a read. And it's also just a Harry Harrison book, and Harry Harrison, his prose style is really enjoyable, really easy to read, and I can't recommend him as an author highly enough. So yeah, so that is another one of my intros to science fictions. Harry Harrison's Make Room, Make Room. And I will see you next time.